Classroom Corner. Hello, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you guys here. We are back yet again with another Bible story. I'm super excited for this one, as of everyone, because we've been kind of like building up to this. We've been talking about love, and we've been talking about ways we can show love to others, and like doing unto others as we would have them do unto us, and all sorts of fun stuff. So we're kind of building it up to this one big story, which I'm super excited about. Because as you can see with this poster here, we have one more poster piece left. So we're about to not only finish a poster piece, but then next week we're going to transition to a new theme and everything, and it's going to be so crazy. I'm so excited for it, and I hope you are too. But before we can focus on this week's story, we're going to have to think back in our brains to last week's story. And you can go ahead and use this heart as a little hint. If you had to guess, we have little band-aids here. So it had something to do with helping. Had something to do with band-aids. For our craft, we made a first aid kit. Think in your brains. Yes, it was the Good Samaritan. So we went and we learned about how there was this man who was injured on the road, and tons of people went by him, and tons of people watched him. There was a priest. There was someone who visited the chapel a whole lot, and they went and they just went on by. But there was one guy, the Good Samaritan, who went and he helped him, and we learned about who our neighbor was, and that we would want to treat our neighbors like that, and we would want our neighbors to treat us like that. So it was a great story, and it was awesome. And now we're going to move on to this week's story, which has to do all about love, and all about a guy named Paul. I grabbed the wrong paper. There we go. All about a guy named Paul. So, and let me show you the picture here before we start the story. There's Paul, and he looks like he's writing, and he's thinking about heart. So he's thinking about love. So let's go ahead and read this and just kind of talk about it. So Paul wrote a letter to a church in Corinth. So Paul is writing this letter. That's what we saw him doing. So he's writing a letter to Corinth, to a church in Corinth. Now, we saw that he had a heart. He was thinking about something to do with the heart. So what do you think that letter might be about? Take a guess. Take a guess in your brain, and then keep it in your brain and remember it, and then let's see if you're right. So he wanted to let them know how important love is. Yes, so he was writing about love. And Paul told them, I could speak the languages of people and angels. So he's saying, I could speak all these languages of people and angels. But, he's like, hold on, but wait. But without love, it would just sound like loud noise. And actually, in the original verse, it would just sound like cymbals crashing. I know we've used cymbals multiple times in the classroom when we're parading around the room and just having a good old time singing songs, and some people have drums, some people have cymbals, and all sorts of stuff, and it's a grand old time. But when those cymbals are crashing, it's kind of hard to hear some people. So he's saying that without love, it would just sound like loud noise, and it would just, you wouldn't be able to hear anything, and it would just sound like loud noise. And then he goes to say, I could know all there is to know about love. If I could know all there is to know without love, I would be nothing. And he goes on to say, love is so important. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love isn't jealous or rude. Love doesn't brag. Love doesn't just look out for itself. It isn't grumpy, and it doesn't hold a grudge. Love is happy when things are true and just. Love trusts, hopes, and endures. So that was a lot to go back, and we'll go back, or that was a lot to process, but we'll come back to that, I promise. And then he goes and he finishes, love never fails. When everything else goes away, 3 things will still be there: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Now that may sound a little familiar, and that's because that's been our wonderful Bible verses, or a singular Bible verse, but on 2 different posters. And that's because we've been going on through that every week, so we've been building up to the story where now it's referenced. So I'll just go ahead and repeat what we read here. Now faith, hope, and love remain. These 3 things, and the greatest of these is love. And that comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13. Nice and easy to remember, 13:13. So he talks about how important love is, and we've been talking all about that. In every single one of our stories, we've been talking about love, whether it's God's love, our love to others, or others' love to us. We've been talking just about love and how important it is. Alright, so now back to that whole long part where he said the word love like 10 billion times, and we'll go ahead and dissect that a little. Where did it start? So it said love is so important. So love is like priority. Love is super important, because without love, this world would be, who knows? it would not be good. And whenever, like he said before, whenever we would talk and if we didn't have love, it would just sound like loud noise or the crashing of cymbals. So love is patient and kind. So love, it's patient and it's kind. There's not too many ways to branch off of that, but love isn't jealous or rude, and love doesn't brag. You know, I was gonna go ahead and read this, but I think it speaks for itself. Love is all these amazing, amazing things, and that's why one of the reasons why love is just so important. Everybody needs a bit of love in their day-to-day life. Absolutely, because it's so important. And also, we know the greatest gift of love was God's love to us when he sacrificed himself on the cross to forgive us for our sins. And that is just so amazing. So not only is the love that we share with each other important, but God's love is so important, and it's always there. Always, always, always. No matter what. No matter what life may be doing right now, what crazy things may be going on, life is always going to be there. Always, always, always. So yeah, that's what Paul was talking about. And so that was in that super important letter, and he was just talking about love. Because love is pretty darn important. So, and there you have it. And that's our Bible lesson for this week. Short, sweet, and simple, but definitely super important. So our poster piece for this week is this right here. We have a heart that spells out love. Now, I ask this question every week. Why do you think that we would use love? Why do you think we have the word love for our poster piece? It's because the whole lesson was about love. That one's pretty self-explanatory, and it's because love is so important. And we're gonna go ahead and put it right on top there to complete our poster. That is our heart balloon poster all completed, and it love's at the very top there. So just to review, we have this one over here that was do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And that, of course, is the what rule? The golden rule, exactly. And then we learned about two houses and two builders. When one builder built his house on sand, and one builder built his house on a rock, and the house on the rock stayed firm because he had his, or actually it was a parable, it was our first parable, forgot to mention that. But his house stood strong because he was able to have that strong foundation of God's love and of that knowledge of God. And then over here we have last week's story with the Good Samaritan about how we should treat neighbors and how we want neighbors to treat us, and we talked about just all sorts of good stuff of how to spread love. And so we had those three, and then of course we had Paul writing the letter into the Church of Corinth, and to just explain and express how important love is. And that was shown not only in today's lesson, but in all these other lessons too. Love was present in every single one of them. And even as we continue to do new lessons, or looking back at past lessons, you'll see that there's a bit of love in every single one of them, for sure. So, I can guarantee you, that there's love everywhere. In the Bible, in our day-to-day lives, love is everywhere, and love is so important. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and move on to the craft here. And the craft, I think this is so cute. The craft is this little fan here. We already did a fan craft, but this one's super cute. And the thing that's cool about this one is you can actually close it and you can open it, which is like, whoa, super cool. Here, I think yes, both the front and back say the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and read these out loud, and then I'm going to show it to you. So it's just what we were talking about, and how each piece of love says, something that we were talking about, and how important love is. So let's go ahead and read it. So we have love isn't jealous, arrogant, rude, irritable, or happy with injustice. Love is patient, kind, and happy with the truth. Love doesn't seek its own advantage, or keep a record of complaints. Love puts up with all things, trusts in all things, and hopes for all things, and endures in all things. So there you go. I'm going to scoot forward just a tiny bit. And there you go. So that is that there. So for you guys, what you can do is you can go ahead and just cut out some hearts, and then you could summarize this. You could copy it straight down. Here, I'll show each one individually. That way, you can go ahead and pause the video if you wish, and you can go ahead and write them down word for word, or you can summarize it, or you can just write some good things about love. Or hey, there's 4 pieces in this craft. You could do, write down something that had a lot of love with, or you could write down something from each story that had a little bit of love in it. Could be whatever you want. Just as long as it ties in something with love, because that's what we learned about for the whole month pretty much. And we just talked about love and how important it is, because it is important indeed. So there we have it. Oh, and then also, so the way you attach these is you go and do a hole punch in them, and then from there, you can go ahead and you can use a zip tie. I used a paper clip because it was the closest thing to me, because I just had a paper clip right next to me, and I was like, yeah, sure, I can use that. You know how to use a paper clip? I think, what are those things called? The little, like, brass things that you put in, and then you can fold out the edge. We've used them before in class. I cannot think of them for the life of me. I'm so sorry. But you could use those. Oh, that's so annoying that I forgot the name, but hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Or you could use tape, you could use string, or you could do something completely different and think out of the box. Do what you want. Is a-okay. And actually, at the day of recording this, it's the hottest day of the year so far, so I'm pretty thankful for this fan. So then you can have it to fan yourself as it gets very, very hot. But then you could also be reminded of how amazing and wonderful God's love is, or just love in general. Just love just the whole entirety of love. You can just know how important that is. We are blazing through this. All right, we're already to the verse dice. It would be so cool if we rolled this and we got something related to love. That would be awesome. All right, we're gonna give it a roll and a bounce, and it didn't land. We're gonna give it a roll and a bounce. All right, what we got? There we go. All right. Therefore, you should treat people the same way that Therefore, you should treat people in the same way that you want people to treat you. And that comes from Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 14. That sounds a little bit familiar. I think that might have been the golden rule right there. So there you go. That is the verse for today. The first time I rolled it, landed like that. So sorry I had to roll it twice. But hey, you know what? We got to roll it twice. It was fun. It was exciting. So there you have it. Now for the song of the week. Wow, we're going at it today. So the song of the week is "Your Love Never Fails." It is, or at least I think that's the name. I look at the names before it, and then I sit down and I record, and I'm like, kind of forgot that. But it's the one that goes, your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me, and so on and so forth. I think it's called Your Love Never Fails, but there's also another song that's like, 'cause your love never fails. So I don't know. It's one of the two. They both have to do with love, and they're both amazing songs. So whichever one you end up finding, it'll be good. And the reason I picked that for the song of the week is it just goes perfectly with everything, because his love never fails, it never gives up, and it never runs out on us. Absolutely never, ever, ever. No matter what we do, no matter where we are, his love will never, ever run out. So there you go. We're ending a little bit early today. We're gonna go ahead and close the Lord's Prayer. We're just zooming through this. All right, so let's go ahead and bow our heads. Oh, well, I gotta explain it. You guys know the drill probably by now, but I'll explain it again just in case. So I'm gonna go ahead and say one line, and then you're gonna go ahead and repeat that line, and we're gonna go back and forth just like if we were in the classroom. But it'll be really awkward for me because I can't hear you, but you'll be able to hear me. So as long as you stay along with me, then you'll be able to hear it'll be able to sound like if we were just in the classroom. So there we go. All right, let's bow our heads and pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. And there you go. There you have it. That is this Bible story for today. Next week, we're going to have brand new posters, a brand new poster piece, and we're actually going to do 2 stories. Whoa. We're going a little bit crazy here. We're going to do 2 stories. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be doing some with the river and a couple other cool things. So I'm super excited. I hope you will be here next week to join me, because it's always a fun time here. At least I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun too. So yeah. Alrighty. I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful week in the meantime. I hope you are having fun. I hope you're laughing. I hope you're trying new things. Hope you're staying active and just having a good old time with your family and whatnot. So yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I love you. God loves you. And you're amazing. But hopefully you know that already. Alright, see you guys next week. Bye-bye.